The woman had just placed the wedding ring her husband handed her during the ceremony. The next second, the big screen began playing a video of her being assaulted by several thugs. Her husband, who was the group's CEO, could not tolerate such humiliation. He slapped her across the face right there. Then he put the wedding ring on the hand of the woman's best friend. The woman is named Bena. She and her boyfriend had only entered marriage after 7 years of passionate love. Those photos had been taken because her friend Lucy had invited them out to play. But unexpectedly, a trap had been laid well in advance, and now Lucy was taking Bena's place. She was going through the wedding rituals with the groom. The venue was in an uproar, full of mockery aimed at Bena. But the farce was interrupted by the crack of a gunshot. A group of men in suits suddenly burst into the wedding. They dragged the groom, who was in the middle of the ceremony, away. The suited men were following Hans's orders. Hans stepped forward slowly from behind the group. He announced on the spot that he had secretly loved Bena for a long time. He proposed to Bena publicly. Bena's wedding continued as scheduled, except the groom had been replaced by Hans. Bena and Hans had met years earlier during a rescue. Hans had been gravely wounded and was barely clinging to life. Fortunately, he encountered Bena, who was a doctor. They urgently treated his wounds and removed the bullet lodged in Hans's body. At that time, Hans gave her a white jade ring as a token of his devotion. But Bena thought Hans was joking. She never expected that this time it would all be Hans who saved her. Bena finally realized that Hans truly loved her. In the blink of an eye, the two had been married for 3 years. Bena had always wanted a child, but she had suffered miscarriages repeatedly for various reasons. After becoming pregnant this time, Bena planned to discuss things with Hans. She intended to take great care of the pregnancy. Unexpectedly, she heard Hans talking with one of his aides at the door. The conversation was about the kidnapping case 3 years earlier that had made Bena the laughingstock of everyone. It turned out that the kidnapping that ruined Bena's life had been orchestrated by Hans. His purpose was to make his friend Lucy marry the man she desired. That man was none other than the boyfriend Bena had loved passionately for 7 years. Bena couldn't believe it. She didn't understand Hans's motive for doing this. Bena didn't want to listen any longer. She, in a daze, walked downstairs and accidentally fell on the stairs. Those talking inside heard the noise and hurried out to check. Hans still wore the look of a man who cherished his lover. He gently lifted Bena, asking why she was crying. He comforted her, saying no one was allowed to bully Bena. He told her he would be her most reliable support. But as Bena listened to his lies and thought about his behavior with Lucy, she found Hans unbearably hypocritical and sickening. In a rage, Bena tried to use a gun to eliminate the aide who had planned the kidnapping. But Hans, while comforting her, forcefully wrested the gun away from Bena. Bena knew that struggling with Hans would not get her the outcome she wanted, so she ignored Hans's false concern. She went straight back to the bedroom. All she wanted now was to investigate and find out clearly why Hans favored his friend Lucy so much. To fulfill Lucy's wish, giving her the status of the family's eldest miss wasn't enough. He had to scheme to steal another person's boyfriend as well. Bena checked Hans's computer. On the hard drive were many intimate photos of Hans and Lucy. Suddenly, Bena noticed a photo. In the picture, Lucy was holding a snow-white jade ring. She connected it with the token Hans had given when he was rescued. Everything fell into place. Because of that ring, Hans considered Lucy his lifesaver. He cared for and pampered her exceptionally. Years of care had led to feelings between them. So, in Hans's mind, the fundamental reason no one could displace Lucy was that Hans believed she had saved his life. But that ring had been snatched from Bena by Lucy. At the time, Bena had no idea that any of this would happen. She had easily let Lucy get away with it. Now that she knew the root cause, if Hans were made to know that the person who had been framed was the real lifesaver, Bena simply felt hugely vindicated just thinking about it. So Bena planned a kidnapping. She contacted Hans's arch-enemy, George. After all, Hans's family had been very powerful in recent years. An ordinary opponent might see the plan fail for various reasons, but George, who had opposed Hans for years, would never miss this chance. The two hit it off and agreed to schedule the plan for 3 days later. The kidnapping was put on the agenda. As for why they scheduled it so far out, Bena had her reasons. Now Lucy would not give up the Jade Ring easily, so they needed other means to make Hans aware of who his true lifesaver was. Tomorrow's birthday banquet would be a perfect opportunity. Sure enough, at the birthday party the next day, Hans and his friend Lucy publicly professed their feelings for each other in front of everyone. Coincidentally, Bena could hear them clearly, but Bena had no intention of exposing the two at that moment. She was instead plotting the plan she would carry out shortly. When the banquet drew to a close, Bena deliberately went into the restroom under Lucy's watchful gaze. Lucy did indeed follow Bena with her eyes. By then, Bena had already hidden a voice recorder in a corner. Bena intentionally brought up the Jade Ring in conversation to lead into the topic of the lifesaver. Lucy had no suspicion at all. She revealed the whole story about how she had impersonated and taken over. All of it was captured by the recorder. Bena was elated. Now, she had the evidence. All that remained was the kidnapping to make Hans feel the same pain.